their importance. They're overlooked, and sometimes they're included as an afterthought. So, responding to those 6 challenges is how we build a stronger women's movement in California. And again, I really am focusing on California. And here are the 10 steps that I recommend we begin discussing. Number 1, at the state level, and I think all of these could be replicated even in fabulous communities like San Luis. Number 1, we need a communication structure. We need to pull together, because this doesn't exist. It exists in sectors, but we need to pull across issues, statewide women's organizations, with the goal not only of networking and information sharing, but really strategically looking at how we collectively can have more clout. Number 2, we need a California women's agenda, not high concepts, but something that is specific, tied to the legislative session, 5 priorities. And I think that the Women's Policy Summit that we started 2 years ago is a step in the right direction. My organization could do more to move us to a very specific 5-point agenda. Number 3, we need more foundation support for the women's community. With our issues identified as priorities, not tucked into other initiatives. And to this end, I want to put an idea on the table for discussion here in Sacramento. Perhaps it's time for a study, as they've done nationally, about the way that dollars are flowing into organizations that have women and girls as their primary mission. Number 4, we need to, I was so nervous when I presented this before, and everyone loved it, so here it is. We need to ask some of our older women's organizations to press the refresh button. They need to look at their mission, they need to look at how they're doing their outreach, and for those of us who've been in the community for a long time, if they need to close their doors, or if they need to consolidate, that is not a failure. That is the end of some good work, but they need to press the refresh button. Number 5, we need, and I want to put this very carefully, we need to hold our elected officials accountable. But what I mean by that is that there are outstanding people in Sacramento who are aligned with us, but we need to send a stronger signal about what the priorities across the board, not by sectors. Number 6, we need to actively involve young women. And it's so delightful to see the Feminist Club of Santa Barbara here in the room. Yay! We need to train them, mentor them, support them, and build leadership opportunities for them. And we need to make sure that the young women we support are as diverse as the future of our state. And I think the next point, and this is all part of number 6, will really resonate with a lot of women in the room. We also need to honor the wisdom and the involvement of the seasoned women who are making contributions. We need to not neglect to honor these women. As Gloria Steinem, the one and only Gloria Steinem, recently wrote, "People often ask me if I'm passing the torch. I explained that I'm keeping my torch. Thank you very much. And I'm using it to light the torches of others." Is that beautiful? Number 7, we need a greater focus on implementation. I think this is one of the more important points that I came to. In a number of cases, we have laws in place, but we need to do more at the local level to implement them, to ensure that policy is translated into practice. Think Title IX, think paid family leave, think pay equity. In the 60s and the 70s, there was a very popular phrase that some of you may remember or know about, which is that the goal was to make the personal political, to take those lessons that we learned in conversations in women's groups and turn them into laws that protected women and girls and created equity and opportunity. At this point in history, I think we need to turn that phrase around. I think that we need to make the political personal. We need to make the political personal. We need to take those laws that are on the books, and we need to make sure that they are implemented in our schools, in our workplaces, in our neighborhoods, in our public squares. We need to make the political personal. Number 8, workplace policy. The set of progressive workplace policies are absolutely essential to free women and men to have the kind of lives where they can integrate work and family. And until we have things like a better minimum wage, paid family leave, paid sick days, health care, thank goodness for that, child care, comp work, we will not have the equity that we need. So I want to raise up a set of workplace policies as something that I think should unite all women's organizations, no matter what else you're working on. Number 9, we need to involve men in our movement at every step and at every level. There are, at this point, Maria Shriver likes to say, and I want to commend her work, that the war of the sexes is over. And I agree with her. There are at this point so many good women, feminist fathers, and I want to recognize my husband, who is a feminist father. And I want to recognize the other men in this room who have made a commitment to Santa Barbara Women's Political Committee. But they are men of goodwill, and we need to enlist their power and their resources to open up doors and opportunities for women and girls. And finally, step number 10, we need to replace that afterthought effect with an insistence that the needs and the aspirations of women and girls be considered, and that a gender lens be consistently used whenever those important discussions are happening about race, poverty, health, and power. So those are my 10 steps to rebuild the women's movement here in California. And let me say, and I'm not saying this in a gratuitous fashion because Hannah Beth is in the room, but I am seriously and honestly, got your attention, huh? I am seriously and honestly encouraged that she is the incoming chair of the Legislative Women's Caucus, because I think her leadership and her passion for women's organizations will be a big part. That I am very hopeful that we can work together to build a stronger women's movement. That we can go far and go together, because we are building from a record of accomplishment. And let me share just a few of those things. Hannah Beth stole some of those ideas because she authored some of them. What can I say? But we in California are a beacon on reproductive health and justice. Those rights are protected, they're supported. We stand head and shoulders above other states. Women are now almost 50% of state board and commission appointments. That's an amazing accomplishment. We were the first state in the nation to pass paid family leave. Everyone's looking to us for what we've learned. And as Hannah Beth shared, she sponsored a bill last year to expand the family members who are covered. We recently also passed a domestic worker bill of rights, which gives overtime protection to women who have too often been overlooked. And these are all great accomplishments. And let me give a shout out to amazing women's organizations, more building blocks, in addition to the amazing Santa Barbara Women's Political Committee. There's Planned Parenthood, there's NARAL, there's Latinas for Reproductive Justice, there's the new Close the Gap, there's Emerge California, there's California Women League. I could go on and on. There's vital leadership and capacity. But we're talking about the glue here. And I think we have to be realistic that we are also facing many, many difficult and complex issues. And some red flag statistics. Call this my Debbie Downer desert. But I think they are a call to action, a call for us to do more, and to use the power that comes from working together. what are some of these things that we're facing? 40% of female-headed households are living in poverty. 2/3 of minimum wage workers are women. In California, our child care and early learning system, even though more dollars are flowing to preschool or transitional kindergarten, is a patchwork quilt. And we do not have a vision or a master plan to ensure that childcare, quality childcare, is available to every low-income and middle-income family in this state, and it's an embarrassment. There is still an unacceptable culture of violence against women, with nearly 2 million women in our 38 million person state who are survivors of rape. And Annabeth mentioned some of the statistics related to power. I'll add one, of our state's top 400 corporations, 1/4, this is 2014, 1/4 don't have a single woman on their board of directors. So that's 1/4, not a single woman on their board of directors. And over the past decade, in the last 10 years, the number of women in our state legislature has declined. It has gone down from 36 to 32. The number of Democrats has gone down. And even though, as we all know, we are a state that's far more diverse, the number of women of color in our state legislature has gone down. So these are not just a set of red flag statistics. They are also warning signs. They are warning signs that we need to renew our focus on the women's movement in our state. And I hope that my remarks today spark conversations about the glue and the vision that we need to rebuild our women's movement. And I hope that we begin to insist that women's and girls' issues have a place at the table and cannot be in any sector an afterthought. And I hope that we step up our mentoring, our training, and our support of young women from diverse communities, and that we continue to partner and expand our partnerships with men of goodwill. And I hope that we not only continue to make the personal political, but that we make more out of making the political personal, and that we ensure that laws that we have in place are implemented in our homes, our workplaces, our schools, our public squares, and create more equity and opportunity in our day-to-day lives. Because the issues that we face are many, the challenges that we face are so great, and I passionately hope that we decide not to go quickly, alone and in silos, but that we decide to go far together. Thank you very much.